It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. What is the best way to write a good sprint goal? So, sprint goals have been a big focus here, especially lately. And with the new reintroduced Scrum guide and the way that they have emphasis on sprint goals, I thought it would be good for us to talk about what a sprint goal is, who sets the sprint goal, and a couple of tips on how to make it effective. So, first of all, a sprint goal is just an encapsulation of what we're trying to achieve that sprint. So, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a backlog item or that it encompasses everything that the whole set of backlog items is. It's just a goal for that sprint. In many cases, it could be an improvement goal. In many cases, it could be a summary goal that's agreed to by the team as our goal for the sprint backlog for that sprint. But I think it's important for us to gain focus and understand so that we understand who our target audience is, what we're trying to produce, and what value it's going to provide. So it gives us three different avenues or mechanisms in order to get that information. So, who sets the sprint goal? Well, during sprint planning, the team should craft a sprint goal. So, the sprint goal is determined by the team. Now, when I say team, that includes the product owner and scrum master. They have to collectively collaborate and work on this goal. It is a joint responsibility. It's not a one time thing. Everyone needs to be part of it. The product owner and scrum master need to contribute to achieve what's there. The purpose behind the sprint goal obviously is for the team to stay focused, for everyone together to define what's most valuable, to determine what the priority is for what we're trying to do, and to find a measuring stick that we're going to measure progress against, a way to measure. And I think that a lot of times people forget that. Sometimes teams just don't even bother setting sprint goals, or if they do, they don't set proper sprint goals. So sometimes they'll pull stories in based on urgency, but the stories collectively achieve no goal or outcome. When the outcome, when the whole purpose of the sprint should be to focus on outcome. Another challenge is that sometimes teams try to commit to things that aren't part of the goal. They might come to you and say, "Yeah, but in order to do that, we need to do this," or whatever the case may be, and they're digging outside and around the sprint goal to find things, and those are sprint productivity killers, right? Because those are the things that help us to really deviate our attention, and it causes us to try to multitask, or even better yet, context switch, right? So sometimes they come up with a goal that's way too broad and not value focused. We're going to make the product better. I mean, that sounds great, but no, it's not a good goal, right? The backlog isn't organized so that it's focused on value driven sprints. So sometimes the product owner hasn't taken the time to put things together that achieve a certain value. And I think that that's something that's important when we're going through and doing backlog refinement, to make sure that when we break things into sprints, that we do have input from the product owner to make sure that we have things that are broken into achievable efforts that provide value. Or sometimes there's a disconnect between the product backlog and a product vision. So the sprint value is poorly understood or just not there. And those are all things that I've seen personally. So, how do you write a good sprint goal? Well, I'm going to go to the acronym, and I bet everybody can guess exactly where I'm going to go. You want this to be a SMART goal. It needs to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time boxed, right? Like any other goal, the sprint goal needs to follow all of those. It shouldn't be overly complicated. It should be highly visible. It should be business or user focused. We need to make sure that it's something that's clear and provides value. So maybe instead of saying, "Oh, we're going to improve performance," you can say, "Okay, we're going to speed up page load time by X%," right? Or maybe instead of saying we're going to refactor a login page, we'd say we're going to refactor the old login interface to achieve 25% better conversion rate. Okay, well, there. Those are things that are very specific and very clear and easy to understand, and a couple of good examples. I think that sometimes we don't necessarily set aside the time in sprint planning because we're trying to fly through all of our meetings. We don't take the time to do this. So during sprint planning, we should follow a couple of steps to make sure we're doing this early in the meeting. The product owner should present the order backlog to the team and show them what we've agreed to do as part of our backlog refinement sessions. The team should discuss and understand any work that's not clear for that sprint. The team can then forecast and commit to the work that's going to be done. And last, the team creates a sprint goal for how they're going to achieve what they try to achieve during that sprint. If you create a really powerful sprint goal, everything should tie together and it should really make sense. And it should be something that's easy to achieve, easy to understand, and it should be clear. So that way, if anyone looks and says, "Well, what's your goal at a sprint? Why are you working on these items?" It should be really easy for you just to point out and say, "We're working on these items. We're achieving this goal." And it should be just something that's common sense that everybody puts together and says, "Wow, that actually makes sense and it works." So I know it's Monday. I wanted to keep it light on you today. So if you have something you want us to talk about, we would love to hear your topics. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us at learnmore@agiledad.com, where we can talk about things on the Daily Stand Up podcast, or we can just talk about how you can reach out to Agile Dad for different services, coaching, and training inside of your organization. So as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.